What impossible situation do you often fantasize about? Post-apocalyptic scenarios where I'm somehow still alive, and what I would do. Getting out from under my career. Been in it for almost 30 and have 15 until I can draw. And opening my own ice cream shop. Having a job I don't hate and having psychic powers. I'm 30. Sad face. Being able to send my consciousness back to myself in the past. With everything I know now, I'd do so many things differently. Avoiding the mistakes. Having the experiences I never had. Etc. Winning the lottery. Impossible because I have never bought a ticket. Winning an argument with an butt and then everyone proceeding to clap while the asshat does the walk of shame. Having superpowers. But like Avatar, it would suck if I had a pointless superpower. Or not having to work but still having an income to take care of everything. That I wake up as a 16-year-old me with the knowledge of current me. Having time control abilities. Being able to eat all the food without becoming morbidly obese and dying. I'm on my third imaginary pulled pork right now. Immortality and being my video game characters. I am not even a child anymore. Being a Pokemon trainer. Being a professional musician, the odds are so low I'm good but not that good. Having a limited ability to revert time. Can only go back 12 hours at a time. And once the ability is used you need to wait at least the amount of time you rewound before you can do it again. Basically, you can't chain leap backwards ad infinitum. You could essentially restart the same 12 hours over and over. But once you have let time progress more than 12 hours, that moment will be out of your reach forever. I think about how many times I would loop the same 12 hours before letting time progress. What I would use that extra time for. How I would perhaps slowly turn cold and distant from those around me. Seeing them merely as automatons. Doomed to repeat the same mannerisms over and over. Before I let time naturally run its course again, there are things that can be progressed in these repeated hours and things that cannot. I could read part of a book, for example, and then continue where I left off when I rewind again. But I wouldn't be able to continue playing a game or travel overseas, etc. Because any progress I make towards goals that take longer than 12 hours get wiped the instant I rewind. I would be a lonely observer of a day's many possibilities and potential outcomes, only to settle for one that's good enough once the repetitiveness gets stale. Would I turn into a sociopath? Commit heinous acts because I can just rewind anyway? I'm honestly not sure. I'd like to think not. But it seems like a very possible outcome. Okay, maybe I can get a bit carried away sometimes. The day when money is not just a stressful conversation to when that my car had Mad Max-like weaponry and I was licensed to crush divers who ignore road rules. I have a few. A world where all the people have vanished, suddenly having the powers of a god and being able to alter reality with a thought, winning the lottery. Edit. A word. Being loved and cared for by someone who has genuine feelings for me. Dying and having your mind be merged with someone else's so a part of you lives within them. They will know everything about you and never make the same mistakes you made. And at the same time, you will be seeing through someone else's eyes. I love the idea of it. Being a sorceress. Curling with Keanu Reeves. Getting married to the love of my life and having a nice, stable, well-paying job I'm happy with. My dog living a human lifespan instead of a 12-year one. Having my life together and not simultaneously failing at everything. Paying off my debt and living a free life where I find my passion. Being a fourth member in the Harry Potter trio. Packing a bag, getting into my car, and driving away to some random city or town and just starting over. Being able to time travel and going back and preventing awful things from happening. Feeling totally secure about who I am as a person, and not giving any fluffs about what other people think. Having a relationship with anyone I'm interested in. Suddenly being able to play an instrument really well. An absolutely absurd, disgusting amount of money. Being happy. I often fantasize about being in a loving relationship, being in a happy relationship, sex, getting laid and not having it, being debt-free, getting into a fight and somehow kicking butt like in some kind of kung fu film, despite being built like a twig and having no training in any martial arts, taking a vacation back in time to the 1980s. I just think it would be so fun to experience the furniture, shopping malls, arcades, silly stuff, I guess, but I think it would be a hoot. Me and Alexandra Daddario, having a girlfriend. I've talked about this before, but I often think about how the world would be if humans had big puffy tails like squirrels, because I find it hilarious. I could see people styling their tails to stand out. Teenagers rebelling against their parents by dyeing their tails some crazy color. It's not a phase, Mom. Quote, tabloids would be reporting things like, Miley Cyrus shaves off her tail. Exclusive photos inside. People on dating apps and websites would be listing their tail length as a new stat like they do now with height. I don't know. I just think it's funny to think about a world like that, and it amuses me to think about it when I'm bored. Post-game interview after I hit a home run to win the World Series. Thinking of a smart comment in the argument not after. That my cancer was a misdiagnosis and I'll get to grow old. Being filthy rich and powerful. Pooping in my dreams and not pooping the bed in real life. Edit. LMAO. Thanks for the silver. Less than 3. Being happy. Being with my what-if guy. We've always had a crazy electric connection and could have been so great together. But we just never got the timing right. I'm married. He's with someone. And we're both reasonably happy and happy for each other. I feel so guilty for how often my mind wanders to what my life would be like if I was with him. But I think what could have been will be an unanswered question that we'll both think about for the rest of our lives. Knowing the history of the world and how everything really did start or happen. Knowing historical facts and not just what was written by the winner. Being Matt Murdock and just swinging my huge slong around all day. Winning just enough money in the lottery. Maybe one of those weekly payout ones. That I don't really need my job anymore, but I'd still keep working here but sorta half-butt it. Until they decided to fire me and then just go on my merry way. Seeing something my kids or I want and not having to think twice about where the money is taking away from and buying it. Owning a house, be able to pay for college for Monsieur, having a car that runs well. I was able to get us all glasses this year though. That was nice. Whenever I'm faced with a decision, I wish I had the power to travel to the future and see what a day in my life looks like 10 or 20 years out with each choice. Is this a big decision that could significantly impact my future? Will things basically be the same either way? Which one brings me more happiness? Same as you, robots longins. Greater than getting married to the love of my life and having a nice, stable, well-paying job I'm happy with. The problem being that the first part of this will never happen. He died on August 9th, th. 2018. We were engaged, getting back together with my ex. Me in a pool of gold coins, Peter Griffin, Scrooge McDuck style. Having to not exist anymore. Saving the world. It was always stupid, but stopping a school shooter. For some fluffing reason I am gonna go all John Wick on the shooter and stop him with a pencil or some bull garbage. Being a girl. Waking up and finding out I inherited a very hefty amount of money that would be enough so I can be a lazy piece of garbage the rest of my life. A lazy piece of garbage that doesn't have to work. Me having a love life. I often think about a scenario where I am in a big room with about 20 clones of my girlfriend. I am pretty much forced to figure out which is the real one. First, I have to go through and eliminate all the ones that don't look exactly like her physically. I start with more obvious things all the way down to minute details only I know about her body. Then go through the process of asking personal questions to the remaining ones and see just how much they know about themselves and also about our own relationship. I ask trick questions or tell certain jokes that I know only the real one would know or like. Eventually I get down to just 2 versions of her, and they are almost exactly the same in all aspects. I never really finish the daydream to figure out who I picked though. I just find it fun to try compiling a list of very specific things I know about her to see if it'd be possible to do successfully.